Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Stu Smith Show. No, we're just taking some questions and answers and comments if you have them. Happy Halloween. It is October 31st. How about those gnats? All right. So let me see. This week I posted something about a Hell Week event that I realized had occurred this week in 1991. So what is that? Whew, 27, 28 years. Um, so anyway, it's quite a bit. We I posted this up on Instagram. If you're not familiar with my Instagram channel, it's instagram.com Stu Smith 50. My YouTube channel is Stu 50 Smith. Favorite number. Good morning, everybody. Taking some questions as they come in. And however, I just wanted to touch on a post I put up on Instagram about Hell Week. And it's just a picture of us, not us, but a group of a boat crew going through the obstacle course, probably a few days into Hell Week. You're pretty sleepy. I remember doing that event, and my buddy, who was my swim buddy at the time, just fell asleep standing up and was actually talking in his sleep doing the obstacle course. And it was just one of those funny moments that you take out of Hell Week, and you just laugh. But we got through the event and through the week, and it was just one of those things that you really have to do this as a team, because you and your team take care of each other. You push each other. Iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. We all have bad days, bad moments, and you just need to say, "Hey, shake it off, get going. You do something great. Hey, slap them a high five. Let's keep rolling. Let's win again." Those type of things. Those things happen, and you don't do it without teamwork. And you also don't do it without taking a good hard look at 120 hours of constant movement, just about, which is Hell Week, and breaking it down into consumable pieces. That may be every hour, it may be from meal to meal, it may be from event to event. And you just get through one of them at a time, because when it first starts, you do not see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is not one of those things that you can look 5 days into advance and say, "Yeah, I'm going to be done with this soon." It doesn't occur soon. There's a lot to endure. So what we did, and what I recommend people to do, is to just break it down and to say, "Hey, soon we'll get a water break. Soon we'll get to eat and sit down in the chow hall, grab some food," those type of things, and just break it down into more consumable time pieces for you. And it'll work out for you. All right. So let's take some questions. I'm just going to start from the top. How many grams of proteins do you need for a 150-pound guy in training? You need to do the math. You go to Google and figure that out. Right. And plus it also means training for what? And do you mean protein powder? Do you mean protein as in grams of steak and chicken? There's a lot of what ifs there. But there is a common formula. You need to figure that out. Typically, if you're really getting into it, 50 to 75% of your body weight in grams is a good standard, right? So, and that's in pounds. Now, you may find a couple formulas out there that are kilograms and grams. That's fine. You just need to know the conversion for pounds to kilograms. I'll let you guys figure out that math. But I'm a 200-pound guy. I try to get 100 grams of protein in. Now, when I'm really killing it, maybe I'll go 120, 130, sometimes 150. Some guys do a lot more than that. I don't process protein very well, and I'm a better carb processor for energy and things like that. So you got to figure out what works best for you. Let's see. Any good tips for passing room inspections, personnel inspection? You know what? You got to put in the time and actually clean your stuff. Now, you're going to fail them anyway. So don't kill yourself trying to be perfect, because the negative feedback that comes from being at Buds is going to be constant. And no matter how good your room is, how good your uniform is, somebody's going to fail you, or somebody in your group of rooms will fail, and everybody goes get wet and sandy. So it's a losing battle, to be honest with you. I think, if I can look back, and I've asked guys this over the years too, how many actual personnel and room inspections they passed, and it was a handful out of, at least one a week, right? So I think I might have stayed dry for 2 or 3 out of 25 of them. So do the math and figure out your percentages of being dry. If you can stay dry for more than 3 or 4 in a at your time while you're at Buds, that's pretty darn good. They're really meant for you to see how you handle negative feedback. A lot of people can't handle being told they're wrong, they're stupid, they're slow, they suck, right? How do you handle that? Do you get better? Those are the type of questions you need to ask yourself when you get negative feedback. All right, let's see what's going on over here. We got a bunch of questions. Been experiencing prettiest psoas pain. Yeah, that sucks. After getting back into running lately, would overuse be likely cause? It could be. Pectineus psoas pain. It's a lower back muscle that just happens to be in the front and down in your hips. There are stretches. I would recommend starting with stretching. There's a couple of devices out there that actually put pressure on that muscle group. I would look into that. See what you think of it. I think Joe Rogan talked about it recently on a podcast too. So you may see the psoas relief device that looks like a big U that you just kind of sit on, and it gets right inside those hip bones and gets that psoas muscle. So that's a tough one. Hopefully that's all it is. Overuse injury, I doubt it. If you're just getting started, usually those come in a lot later, but it could be. I don't know. Going over a 3-story rope wall in Buds. Do you get used to the height? Yes, you just don't look down is what I recommend. Don't look down. Going to boot camp in 3 months. How do I maintain my strength for Buds? You don't. You are going to get out of shape at boot camp. You are going to probably get sick at boot camp. If you can avoid getting sick, you've done yourself a big favor. So that means wash your hands all the time. Don't even touch your face with your hands throughout the day, because you got to think about what boot camp is. You're pulling in germs from all over the nation, putting them all in one room, and then you're exposed to those germs from all over. People traveling, just got off traveling. So it is like a big petri dish for bacteria, and people get sick. A lot of people get sick. If you cannot get sick, you've done yourself a big favor by not having to recover from being sick with whatever bronchitis, pneumonia, whatever bacterial infection you could get, or virus. Done yourself a big favor by not having to recover from that and get back into shape. But yeah, you're going to get out of shape during boot camp. That's the way it is. I would recommend working out whenever you can, and doing whatever you can when you can. And you'll see when that time is. Good question, though. That's a tough one. It's just going to happen. I would suggest going to boot camp in peak shape, like crushing everything, and then use boot camp as a taper. So that is what I tell my guys to do. Because the last thing you want to do is go to boot camp barely passing a PST. And then while you're at boot camp, you have to take the PST. And because you haven't done anything in 3 weeks, you're now out of shape. And then you fail the PST. Guess what? You're out of the program. So that's why I tell people minimum standards going into these things suck. And it will probably get you forced out of the program, either from not meeting the standard or just being injured eventually, because everything's an overuse injury to you because you haven't really put in the time to prepare. In prep, can they keep you back if they think you're not ready for buds? Ooh, they can kick you out if they're not ready for buds. They may roll you if they like you. But at that moment, there are a lot of people that are trying to go to buds. And the easiest way to deal with them if they're not meeting the standard is just kick them out of the program. And unfortunately, that's what happens. We had a guy that was doing sprints and a shuttle run, and he just bent down. You know how you bend down, put your hand on the ground, turn around, and come back. Stud athlete, collegiate swimmer, all-American swimmer, and good athlete all the way around. And he broke his hand at prep, and he couldn't heal it in time and was kicked out of the program. So you have to be really careful, and you have to be on top of your game, because unfortunately they have plenty of people that want that job, and they can only send so many people. And you give them an excuse to not send you, they will not send you. Have your shit together. Do you have any references for treading water that's effective? Yes. In fact, on this YouTube channel, you can find many references for treading water that are effective. Just search treading water. My recommendation is go to a water polo page and watch those guys tread water. It's incredible. Those guys can really tread. But I did a treading video a while back ago. You can check that out. What are the pre-department training deployment circles like? Cycles, I am assuming, is what you're asking. How long are they, and are the weekends like at Buds? Weekends, that's two different questions, I'm assuming. Weekends are great at Buds because you're really not doing anything but licking your wounds and getting ready for Monday. So you have Saturday and Sunday off, which is awesome. But sometimes you have duty and you got to do stuff. But you're constantly always working. Either you're cleaning your boots or you're getting your uniforms ready, you're getting your gear ready. There's always something to do. But there's always some time to get out and relax too, and I highly recommend it. My advice is just to go eat and maybe find a hot tub and, get a massage if you want to do that. Do a mobility day. Very important. In your opinion, is it better to lose some extra pounds you have? I have a few extra pounds before beginning hypertrophy phase. No, it doesn't matter. Hypertrophy phase is great for burning calories. You'll probably lose fat and gain muscle at the same time just because you're working it off. So you may not gain any weight because you're adding muscle, but you're also losing fat. So you can look at it that way. I would measure your progress in inches around your waist and inches around your chest, shoulders, and arms and legs if you really want to measure if hypertrophy phase is working for you, since you also have some fat to lose. All right. Can you just do more reps of push-ups and pull-ups to build more muscle? You could. Is there a cap point of how much muscle you can gain and weight level even if you increase the reps? I think we all have our max, of what's for us. I don't think it's a general rule that everybody's going to gain 50 pounds of muscle if they start working out. I think it all depends on you and your genetics, your ability to push, what you're eating, how well you're sleeping. There's a whole lot of pieces to that equation to make hypertrophy or strength gains successful. And you have to do it. You have to work hard, but you also have to recover, because you don't grow unless you're recovering. You actually don't grow unless you're sleeping. So, you need to make sure you're getting proper rest, nutrition, and working out where you're not overtraining all at the same time. See, training twice a day, cardio in the morning, strength in the evening. Nothing wrong with that. You can even flip it upside down if you want to change things up. 5 days a week. Is this optimal, especially long term? Depends on how you feel. If you're taking a day off somewhere during the week, I think that's good. I like to work out really hard 5 days a week, but then one of those days, a sixth day, somewhere in the middle of those 5, I throw in a mobility day, and that really helps me with days 4 and 5 that are hard workouts of the week. Very helpful. And all my guys do that now. And we're seeing huge results versus being just hammered on day 4 and 5 and being subpar energy levels and subpar performance. All right, what we got here? Winter has arrived in Illinois. Woohoo! Recommendations for home or gym routine for weight loss. Just keep moving, man. If you don't like getting outside in the cold, either do one of two things: get a treadmill or a stationary bike, find an indoor swimming pool or indoor track or something, and get running. But also, bundle up and get outside and do something. So I got a question here. Somebody asked about the Spec Ops Triathlon on Saturday, and we are doing a Spec Ops Triathlon on Saturday in Severna Park, Maryland. It's a fundraiser for the community center that lets us use their facilities to train people, and they let us use it for free. So we do this to say thank you. And it's at 1:00 on Saturday. We'll start off with a 5-mile run, 5-mile ruck. We'll throw in some mystery PT in there. Got some cool patches for you. And then we'll end it with a 1-mile swim, where most likely everybody will cramp up and only a few people will actually finish the 1-mile swim. It happens. So we'll hydrate and electrolyte, but it's only going to be like 55 degrees, so it'll be pretty nice out. We'll be killing it. So that's a fun little event for you. If you have not done a Spec Ops Tri, which is a run, swim, ruck instead of a run, swim, bike, I'd recommend it. It's a good workout. In a lot of my books, I have run, swim, runs, just because I think they're challenging, but you can always turn one of those runs into a ruck if you so choose, especially now that they're adding more rucking at buds, in that soft sand. So you got to get used to that. All right, let's see what we got here. I spend my weekends partying with Coronado frog hogs if I ever went to Bud's. That's what he'd do. Okay. In fact, I'd repeat the exact pickup lines Chris Kyle used. Oh, you do that there, buddy. Go for it. We'll see how long you last. Now, there's nothing wrong getting out and relaxing a little bit and having some fun, but yes, you can go out there and do that if you want. We had guys that could party on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and still make it through Bud. So if that's you, good luck. Okay, let's see. A couple more questions. No questions, since you kindly answered all of them by email 7 years ago when I bought your Bud's training book. Keep up great work. Well, thank you. Yeah, that's another way to get in touch with me, is just email me. especially if you don't want to do it on an open forum like this, which, I don't blame you. My email address is stu@stewsmith.com. Email me. Now, the reason I like getting emails, to be honest with you, because I write a lot of articles, and what I will do is very often, sometimes these emails are very thought provoking and require a thorough answer. Sometimes I've already answered it, and I send you the article that I've already written about it. Because I've written about 1,000 articles online now over the years, so you can actually probably go to Google, ask your question, put my name in it, and you might find an article on it. I don't know what percentage of that would occur, but try that first. If you don't get an answer, email me. Is there a way to enlist at a certain season to heighten your chances of going through boot camp, then buds prep, then buds during a certain season? Yes, there is. You just need to figure out what season that is. Yeah, I mean, you could go through. I tell you what, though, it sucks going through boot camp in the winter. It's no joke. I mean, you're going to freeze your ass off, and you're probably going to do a lot of your training indoors, which will also exacerbate germs and in the middle of the flu season. So you probably get sick, but you're probably going to get sick anyway. But yeah, you can figure it out. Do the math, right? It's boot camp's 8 weeks, prep is 6 weeks, then you go to buds. Buds is going to be over a half a year of time where you can't avoid colder seasons, because I went through Hell Week in October, got there in August, went through Hell Week in October. So it wasn't a winter Hell Week, it was a fall Hell Week. But my dive phase was way colder than anything I've ever done at Buds. I was much colder in dive phase, underwater every day, in December and January, and than I ever was in Hell Week. That's for sure. So you're going to get cold, and it's going to be cold at the island too if you do it in the winter. So you can't escape it. It's too late. Is 26 too late for buds? No, it is not. But 29 is. Can you continue to gain muscle just by doing more reps of push-ups and pull-ups, just increasing the volume without increasing the intensity? Yeah, sure. You have to remember, though, if you're going to gain muscle mass, that means you're going to gain weight. You need to be eating to gain weight. Just doing weights or calisthenics is not going to build muscle unless you are eating extra calories to put on extra muscle mass. You can get stronger by weights and calisthenics and get more muscle stamina by weights and calisthenics, or more strength if you go heavier, obviously. But you need to put in the extra calories. And to do that, you might see 1 pound a week of weight gain. That still requires an extra 500 calories of surplus eating at the end of every day in order to do that. So, Stu, what is the program you used to help Jim Edwards get 33 pull-ups? Jim is an old man like myself. He's in his 50s and started training with me online. It's called the Online PT Club. And what I do is basically each week I send people a new workout and for the week. And then at the end of that week, their feedback helps me create a new workout week for them. So it's not like I just send them a 12-week program, say, hey, see you later. I send you 1 week at a time. Your feedback helps me create that week. I create workouts that fit into your life, your time per day, your days per week, your equipment that you have available to you, your facilities you have available, your goals, your current fitness level. So I personalize a workout program. And that's what my online training program is. All these books are not personalized programs. Believe it or not, you can't just grab a book and it fit you perfectly. Might have to make some adjustments. You might have to decrease the mileage. You might have to increase the reps. You might have to not run at all because you can't run, and you got to replace running with non-impact activity. That's what you have to do with generic programs. But gym is a part of my personalized program. It's on. If you go to Stu Smith Fitness Coaching, StuSmithFitness.com, and click the coaching link, you'll see that. John Rich, how many times are you going to ask this question? Is there a cap point where increasing reps wouldn't add muscle? Yes. I don't know what that is. It depends. Jesus Cristo. Just get out there and go do push-ups and pull-ups and see. You tell me where the cap point is. How about that? Eventually, you will stop growing, or you'll just keep getting fatter. That is something you can do. You can always keep getting fatter by overeating and not exercising. But eventually, yes, your muscles will hit a point where they won't grow anymore. Unless you started taking banned substances. Any advice for someone pursuing to be a SEAL officer through OCS? I got a lot of advice for you. I've written a couple articles on that. You can find them. SEAL OCS, Stu Smith. SOAS, got to prepare for SOAS. It's a process. It's a longer process than the enlisted process, and it's a lot more competitive. So you got to really have your stuff together on that one. So I would definitely go to sealswick.com and look at their website for that first. That's where you'll get all the general information on how to do it. And then there's some articles out there about the SOAS process, which stands for SEAL Officer Assessment and Selection. We used to call it mini buds back in my day, but now it's actually a selection program where you will get told you cannot come back, or they will invite you to come back. Wanting to be educated on how to work the human body like yourself. What should I major in? Well, you can do it a couple different ways. You can major in physiology and kinesiology and exercise science, or you can get out there and really learn it and do it yourself. I'm probably a little process of both. Experienced it through 10 years of athletics, and then another 8 years of, or maybe 10 years of either preparing or being in spec ops. And then the last 20 years, I've been kind of perfecting it, getting more education on it, and writing about it for the last 20 years, creating programs as well. How many miles a week were you averaging for running and swimming when you trained for buds? When I trained for buds, I was getting about 30 miles a week running, and I was swimming every day, every other day with fins, every other day without fins. So what I would do is when I swam, I would swim 1 to 2 miles with a pair of scuba fins on. I'd make that my leg day for leg PT. On upper body days, I'd swim without fins and would do a variety of underwaters, hypoxics, treading, practice some drown proofing without tying myself, stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I did it. I probably swam 1,500 to 3,000 a day. And when I say a day, I'd say 5 days a week swimming. Running was 6 days a week, took a day off somewhere in there. But I built up to that because when I first started, I sucked. I mean, 1.5 miles was long distance when I first started. So that took a little while to build up to that kind of volume. Should a heavyweight amateur boxer that does calisthenics as strength, high volume, start lifting weights to prep for buds? Not a bad idea to go through a cycle of preparing your body for the load-bearing activities that you will see. You're going to see logs over your head. You're going to have logs on your shoulder. Think about the strength that you need in your core and your back, your hips and legs for all that. Deadlifts and hang clings work really well for that. That's why I created the lift cycle over the years. I have a calisthenic cycle, then I have a lift cycle. They tend to go really well depending on your athletic history. Some people need to do both of them. Some people can get away with just doing one of them. Just depends. All right. I'm gonna. Some of you guys are asking a lot of questions, which is good. I invited you. Besides getting auto qual scores for the PST, what lifting number should I hope to get? I wrote an article on that actually. You should see it. Go to stewsmithfitness.com, click the article's link. Scroll down, and the answer to your question is in an article called What is Good Enough? I have two articles. One is the PST, What is Good Enough scores, and two, I have part two to that, which is strength. So if you do a Google search, What is Good Enough, Stu Smith, you'll see two articles in there that explain where I recommend your strength and PST numbers should be. Okay, another question. Is it in total reps or is it total hard sets that is better counted towards hypertrophy? I don't know. Why don't you test them out and tell me? You can do both of those, and they will both work for hypertrophy. Which one works best for you depends on you. All right, John Rich, if you could not ask that question again, I've seen your name pop up here like 6 times asking the same question. Go do your pull-ups and push-ups every other day. Do them hard. Do a lot of repetitions in them. When they get easy, add some weight. Maybe a weight vest day. Do a cycle when they're weighted. Do a cycle when they're not weighted. You're not making me mad. Just you're asking questions that don't really matter. Just get out there and do them every other day. Let's see. Let's see. Damn. Any advice for 29, 30-year-old waiver hopefuls? Yes. You need to find somebody that will work with you. Because it is a paperwork process. They have to work your waiver up the chain of command, and it has to get approval from several different layers of that chain of command. And it's a lot of work, so for a recruiter to do that, they have to be willing to put in the work for you. So for you to find that recruiter, you need to show them that you are somebody worthy of their extra effort. That means by showing up, killing the PST on day one. We had a great story a while back. A guy was 31 and they said, "Hey, yeah, so you want to take the PST with us?" And they just took him to take a PST, and he beat everybody in the pool and then crushed everybody on the run and the PT scores. And that guy was like, "All right, we'll do this." And I thought that was a great story. And he's actually post buds now. So he made it through. But you know what? He found that was like his 10th recruiter that he asked about a waiver that the other 9 said no. So be expected to hear no. Okay, 32 going into SWIC. Let's see, any advice on being older trying to do this? Yeah, you just got to work on your recovery. Very much get good at your nutrition, get good at your sleep, and do workouts that don't crush you physically. You want to push hard, but you want to have some balance where you're not doing butt kicking workouts 5 days a week in a row. I don't recommend that necessarily for anybody, but break it up. Do split routines with upper body one day, lower body the next. Give yourself 2 days before you work that muscle group again. And that typically is enough at in late 20s, early 30s to be able to recover from very hard workouts I'd add in a mobility day as well. So let's see. How important is it to learn other strokes beside the CSS? I swam 841 yesterday, but when I do freestyle, I'm winded after 100 yards. You know what? I like freestyle just to get winded because it is harder. Um, I use, like I said, you might see me talk about the 50-50 workout that I do. I do 50 free, 50 side or combat side stroke, and do that 10 times. That's 1,000-yard workout. You get really winded on the freestyle, maybe even skip breathe, do some hypoxic stuff, 6 to 8 strokes per breath. Then you try to catch your breath with a 50 side stroke. That'll get you in really good shape for swimming. Give it a shot. See what you think of that. But yeah, I think you should learn both. You should learn CSS with fins more than anything, though, because once you're there, all of your swims are going to be with fins. And those are the ones that are graded and count. Now, you need to have a fast 500 without fins, but you also need to be really good with fins. Let's see. Talked to my district mentor, and he said the age issue is not as big as an issue as it was in the past. That is true. But it is one of those things that it requires extra work. So let's see. Do you recommend going directly to the scout team if you have the means to? I live in Virginia, opposed to going to an officer recruiter in town. Primarily going the SEAL officer route. If you're going the SEAL officer route, you need to go to the officer recruiter and have your stuff together. Be able to crush that PST before you even talk to a recruiter, whether you're officer or enlisted. Because here's what happens. You go in there, say, hey, yeah, I want to be a SEAL. Oh, what's the PST? 500 yards. How many laps is 500 yards? Oh, well, how fast do I need to swim? Oh, I need to run a mile and a half. How many laps is a mile and a half? You're going to ask a whole bunch of stupid questions. And if you ask those questions, you're nowhere near ready to be talking to a recruiter, right? So you need to have all that stuff wired. You need to know how to take the PST, how to crush the PST, prepare for that PST, because that is your entrance exam to get into this community. Whether it's SEAL, SWIC, EOD, diver, air rescue, you need to know how to do that. And you going in there on day one, having never done it before, having never completed a 500-yard swim, just puts you on a timeline that may not be beneficial to you completing it before your ship date. Because once you're in the delayed entry program, you have a year, and typically they like to ship you out before a year is over to get to boot camp. And if you're not passing your PST with good enough scores, you will not go. And that's it. Hey, Stu, any advice on how to improve endurance without losing power and intensity? Yes, that is what my winter program is all about. And what we do is this. We have been busting our ass all spring and summer building up our cardio base and calisthenic high repetition foundation. Now we are switching into a strength and power base. We're still swimming with fins a lot. And practicing some technique stuff. So what we do is this: to keep up with those high rep endurance or muscle stamina endurance things, is we actually warm up with calisthenics and short, fast runs like 100 meters, pretty fast runs. And then we go lift. And then after the lift, it's a short run. Maybe spend a total of 15 to 20 minutes running, but you do it this way. You run a mile, nice and easy, or you run a mile and a half, nice and easy, and then you come back running a mile and a half really hard, like it is like you're doing a timed run. So what we try to do is maintain our PST numbers while we do while we work on the strength side. So whatever muscle groups we're working in strength, those are our warm-up exercises in calisthenics. And then, like I said, we finish off with a short, fast run, and then we finish it off with a swim. And if it's a leg day, we swim with fins. If it's a non-leg day, we swim without fins, but we throw in some technique stuff for treading water and things like that. So things change a little bit. We just rearranged some stuff. And we still did strength stuff in the summer, don't get me wrong, but it was different. It was sandbag work. It was logs. It might have been a weight vest here and there or a TRX. So it was just different ways to make calisthenics a little harder. But yeah, you can do it a couple different ways. Hey, Stu, is 215 pounds a good weight for buds? If my PST scores are good, would you recommend dropping weight? Well, it depends. I've seen 215 pounders run, an 8:30 mile and a half and do 4 miles in 26 minutes. If you can do that, I think that's great. If your run is 12 minutes, no, it's not great. You may have to get in shape to be a better runner at that weight, and also work on your grip, because a lot of heavier guys have a problem with the obstacle course and actually will fail the obstacle course because they can't hold on to any more on the later obstacles. It doesn't really matter how tall you are. If you're 215, I mean, that's 6 feet, 215 is pretty. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, you're a bigger guy. I was 6 feet and 195 going through buds. I probably might have capped out at 200 after a big burrito meal, but yeah. So that's it. So I've been doing this for 40 minutes. If you have other questions, just get them into the comment section of this video. I'll leave it up on my channel here. And thanks for coming. And that is all. So if you guys have any more questions, if you don't want to do them, John Rich, stop. If I could crawl through this, I would. You're just being an asshole now. So is that what you wanted? You wanted me to just call you out and do that? Come on, dude. Okay, I'm leaving. Take care.